Remembrance Day, a day to remember since the end of the First World War, to members of the armed forces who have died in the line of duty. A day about remembering the men and women who served and continue to serve or fallen for our country during times of war. So it is at this time that I ask everybody to remove their hats and join together in a moment of silence. Dedicating 2 minutes of silence at 11 a.m. on Remembrance Day has become a custom that Canadians and many other countries have acquired to offer condolences and respect to men and women who served, lost their lives, or continue to serve our country today. But why 2 minutes of silence? This practice of silence originates from Cape Town, South Africa, in 1918 by Mayor Sir Harry Hands after receiving news of the death of his son. The silence was initiated by the firing of the noonday gun on top of Signal Hill for an entire year following the loss of his son. The proposal of the 2 minutes of silence was also quickly brought to the attention of King George V, where he proclaimed all locomotion should cease, so that in perfect stillness the thoughts of everyone may be concentrated on reverent remembrance of the glorious dead. Although this important offering of respect is no longer formally initiated, every day of the year, the tradition of 2 minutes of silence continues at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Just over a century ago, in 1918, the First World War ended at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, with the signing of the armistice. On this day, and every other day, for forevermore, we take the time to remember the 66,000 Canadians that lost their lives on the battlefield of Europe, as well as the 45,000 other who fought for the Second World War. It is also the day where we mark the 66th anniversary of the Korean War. Remembrance Day is not only a day to remember the men and women that died on the battlefield, but also the contributions of all the men and women who served and continue to serve today.
This is Matthew Halton of the CBC, speaking from France. It's 2 minutes to 5. 2 minutes to 5 in Normandy. And the sun hasn't risen yet, over us or over the Germans 800 yards away. It will rise on a fearful scene, because at 5 o'clock precisely, the Canadians are going to attack. And they'll attack with the most enormous concentration of fire ever put down on a small objective. It's hardly light enough to read these notes into the microphone. The morning is as soft and beautiful as a swan gliding down a quiet river. But just wait a minute. I'm in a stone barn with a company of Western Canadian machine gunners who are going to be in battle soon, drawing fire to aid the main attack. Plainly in front of me, not half a mile away, is the powerful German strongpoint of Carpiquet village and Carpiquet airdrome, 2 or 3 miles west of Caen. That position has been a thorn in our side. We can't get Caen till we get Carpiquet, and now we're going to get it. We can see Germans moving from time to time in the half-light. We won't see them when the barrage begins. Little white rabbits and baby ducks are playing at my feet. They don't know that this barn will soon be shelled and machine gunned. There's Carpiquet. There's the wood from which the Canadian regiments and tanks are going to attack. And here are we, closer to Carpique than to the wood. The attack will come across right in front of us and toward us. I've never had a better observation post for a battle, and I dread what I'll see through this door. Many hundreds of guns will support the assault. No less than hundreds of field guns, 25-pounders. No less than hundreds of medium guns. And many heavy guns. And in addition, the 16-inch guns of a British battleship and a monitor, which will throw their 2,000-pound shells from 10 or 12 miles away at sea. And in addition to all that, many squadrons of fighter bombers and of rocket-firing Typhoons. This unimaginable barrage will move, followed by our troops and tanks. I wonder if the Germans over there can guess what hell is about to break on their heads. At 5 o'clock, and it's now about 10 seconds to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Here she goes.
The bright red poppy, which can be considered a popular symbol of remembrance, has a history dating back far longer than a century, dating all the way back to Napoleonic War in the 19th century. Many records and recollections claim poppies have grown in thick, luscious layers over the graves of soldiers in the famous Flanders Field in Flanders, France. The poppies created a blanket of flowers over the soldiers that laid to rest, providing a red hue to a warm, torn land. However, it is this bombardment of war rubble that deposits minerals into the soil for the poppies to thrive and act as a reminder of all the individuals who did and continue to serve for our country. The poppy was not adopted by Canadian society until 110 years later, when it was introduced by Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae of Guelph from Ontario, who was a Canadian medical officer during the First World War. Lieutenant Colonel McCrae quickly rose in popularity after scribbling down a poem following the death of a friend and a fellow soldier in 1915. This poem, in Flanders Fields, quickly became enshrined in the hearts of many. It highlights the significance of the poppy. A poppy is worn throughout November to remember the people who have gone to war for Canada. However, it is appropriate to wear a poppy at other times of the year to show support to veterans and others.
In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved, and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
Here in Brome, at the Brome County Museum, we are lucky to have the prestigious Fokker D-7 fighter plane on display. It was a German warplane used in the First World War. It was built in 1917 and is one of only 5 of the original planes in original condition. The Fokker D-7 first appeared in Western Front in 1917 and was very underestimated by Allied pilots because of its lack of aerodynamics and its small size in comparison to German planes. The plane was equipped with a BMW motor attached to propellers, giving it the ability to do a spiral maneuver while nosediving. It was the plane's unique ability to maneuver in midair that gave it all its success. At one point in 1918, the Fokker D-7 was even considered to be the best fighter aircraft in the war. 2 years following Armistice, the Senator of Brome, George G. Foster, who actually studied at Knowlton Academy, successfully obtained one of the Fokker D-7 planes for the Canadian Armed Forces to represent at a regional trophy of the First World War.